Alright, how we doing today, everybody? There's Maisie, and yes, we're actually down at some water now. We're not at the lake. I don't know this area as well as I used to know, obviously, Missouri and Truman Lake. And when I Googled the dam, it actually put me below the dam. So that's the dam for Texoma Lake. And we're actually down here below the dam. But it'll be fine. Just a couple things I wanted to go over. So they moved the doomsday clock, which is kind of funny. I just talked about that in my last video, to 90 seconds before midnight. So we're closing in on it. The other thing I kind of wanted to touch on was the whole, and it's been in the news, everybody's freaking talking about it. The core stopped spinning. Now, it's my belief, and I don't even deal with beliefs. It's either a knowing or a not knowing, right? I'm pretty sure that we are actually the core. I don't know that I've mentioned this in other videos or not. I know I've discussed it on different panels I've been on and in different chat rooms I've been in. But the Ark of the Covenant, you know, so, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before. You know, what is a covenant? It's just an agreement made upon people, right? Handshake deal. So when people talk about, you know, we signed on to be here, we didn't sign anything. You got to get over the material world of pen, paper, all these physical things that we use here. We didn't have to sign anything. If the agreement was probably nothing more than a handshake, if you will. You know, just agreement made between people to do this. Okay. Now, as above, so below. Let me see if I can get that in there. There's a little duck out here swimming around. There he is right there. So anyhow, and I'm pretty sure, and I've talked about this, and you know, the Bible talks about we're like pebbles on the beach, right? Look at all these pebbles. We're small. See how small those are, those rocks down there? Grains of sand. I've discussed this before, that part of us that was left behind is probably the sand, the silicone aspect of us. And that's actually been in the news quite a bit. Different people talking about the days of silicon before the days of carbon. I think we're actually a mixture of both. They lie really close to each other on the periodical chart. They're very similar. But the ark, you know, it's a very powerful, universal power thing that people were searching for. It's us. And I don't know my Bible verses to just sit here and tell you where to go look, but I know in the Bible when it talks about our world, it mentions a couple different firmaments separating the waters from the waters, right? So, and salt is a preservative. So my guess is we very well could be sitting in the bottom of an ocean heading away doing this. But I'm pretty sure we are the core. We provide the magnetosphere for the earth. Yeah, she loves being in her water. And with the poles on the move, like I said, as these two black holes come together, you know, they always show a depiction of a sun in the middle of the black hole. And I keep saying all the time that the sun that's currently in the sky is not the sun that we're supposed to be attached to. As we get closer to our sun, remember the return of the Son of Man, I've discussed that in some videos. Our hearts are being pulled that way. That's what's causing the poles to move. Climate change is nothing more than the change in everybody's minds. Okay? So, as we get closer to our sun, we're pulled that direction, and thus the earth is going to tilt, the poles are going to move. As far as the core not spinning anymore, you know, if we're not spinning anymore, or things aren't spinning around us anymore like they used to be, that means chances are we're in the birth canal. I've been saying for a long time that we're getting close to the event. Now, I don't know, and I've said this a bunch too, I don't know how all this plays out. It just is what it is, right? But I'm pretty sure there's some other signs that I am watching, and not really going to go into those right now, because that too, it just is what it is. There's things that I watch, that I look for, the stuff that I capture out of the news. You know, that's just one part of the story. There's, like, you know, always different sides to the story, right? Different angles to look at it, different perspectives to take. So I'm watching for certain things. One of them will be actually give us a 24-hour notice, in my opinion, and that could be weeks away based on what I'm seeing in the news. So the core not spinning, again, is it really or not? It doesn't matter. Just like in my last video with William Shatner going up in the Blue Virgin, did he really go? It doesn't matter. It's what they're telling you. Okay, and that gets into this whole discernment and what resonates with people. And to me, discernment and resonance, if something resonates with you, okay, the kingdom is within. Everything is based on us. So if something resonates with you, it's probably tugging at a memory. Okay, that's all this stuff is. And the fact that I know all this stuff only means that I was there when it happened. And probably not everybody was there when it happened, or they don't remember being there, because just like in this world, until you become a certain age, and I'm pretty sure most places it's 18, right? You can't do certain things until you become a certain age or gain a certain level of consciousness. So the covenant, the Ark of the Covenant that was made between people, they were of a particular consciousness. They were the only ones that could buy into, so to speak, that contract, right? So I'm pretty sure that's why some people remember and some don't. I've been saying for a long time that, you know, this is why it's not our job to wake people up. It really aggravates me to see people that claim to be awake, yet they sit there on panels and talk about how it's their job to destroy another person's beliefs or what he stands for or whatever, because it doesn't match theirs. You know, it takes two opposing forces to create friction, and you're just buying into each other's energies negatively if you're sitting there having an argument about, you know, excuse me, what's supposedly real and what isn't real. Oh, pardon me again. I ended up coming down with a touch of a cold out here. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but that too is what it is. So I think, you know, because for the longest time on the internet, people were talking about remember yourself, right? Remember who you are. People looking into past lives to find themselves, blah, 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 blah. It's all part of the process. And not everyone was probably the same conscious level when we got here. And they're not going to be the same conscious level when we leave. That's why it's not our job. We can drop seeds, right? And it's up to those people, just like the seeds that were planted within me. It was up to me to nurture that seed and look into it and tend for it. And whether that meant more research on a particular subject matter, it is what it is. There's some pelicans out here. We're pretty used to seeing those from our days on Truman. I've noticed not quite the wildlife out here that I'm used to seeing, the numbers. They have deer here, but not nearly in the numbers I was used to seeing. Same thing with the pelicans and the egrets and the blue herrings, but nature's nature, right? It's not the quantity, it's the quality, so to speak. So to me, that's all discernment and the way things resonate with people. It's just touching an inner memory. So with us being in the birthing canal, I do believe we're very close. I'd say we're within a matter of weeks. I know I've been saying that for the past year. I just didn't realize how far out ahead of most people say they're stuck behind the 8 ball or whatever. I'm way out ahead of the 8 ball apparently. Which, is what it is. That's not a ego thing saying that. It's just a reality. I'm here because of things that I know and thought were going to happen sooner than they are. That's all that is. Again, it doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong. It's just how the world works. And if you go back to one of my earlier videos, and it's been over a year, it's the what if conclusion. Way back then, I was talking about the original man and what he was capable of, right? And that was the guy. So here's another one for you. If you go look up the evolution of man, everyone's seen it. There's 4 or 5 guys standing in a row and one slouched over. You've got the Homo erectus, right, who stood upright. And look at the name, Homo sapien, Homo erectus. That homo part is nothing more than the HU, human part. So even he got tainted, right? And if you look at the evolution, supposedly, we went from ape-like to the Neanderthal guy. In reality, remember, everything's inverted. This is what happened to us. That who they want to label as Neanderthal, early man, caveman, whatever, he was the one that got tainted. And instead of it progressing from an ape to him, we actually progressed, more than likely, from him to the ape. And that brings into mind the ape scene in 2001: A Space Odyssey. It also brings to mind the movie Battle of the Planet of the Apes, right? I'm just saying. I can't make this stuff up. I got no dog in this fight. This is just the stuff that I see. Because everything is inverted. So the core stopped moving, supposedly. We are the core. We are the, if you've ever seen the old Walt Disney movie, Aladdin, Robin Williams plays the part of the genie, right? And what does he say in that movie? Phenomenal cosmic power in an itty-bitty living space, right? Referring to the bottle that the genie lives in. Well, look around. Here's your bottle that all you little genies live in. We are the phenomenal cosmic power. We are behind everything. Now, most people have a hard time grasping that. A lot of these people that are putting out videos are talking about, you know, we're going back to the days of Atlantis. No, Atlantis was part of human history. The reason all of human history is being rewritten right now and being wiped out, why we're doing what we're doing, is because the universal beings that we are, the Godhead, so to speak, because everything does revolve around us. We are time travelers. We can visit and see any timeline that's out there. And these timelines are not going to be revisited again. Period. Humanity as we know it will cease to exist. Like I said, when all this is said and done, and in the twinkle of an eye, everything changes. And when I say everything, the ground we walk on, the trees we look at, the sky we look at. The Bible even talks about a new heaven and new earth. That's exactly what it's going to be. The stars that we see in the sky. Every single thing, just like that, bam, just like magic. Because that's how God works. And it's not sleight of hand magic, what you see portrayed down here in this realm. It is true, genuine wizardry. You know, you've even got people out there talking that, you know, I'm a witch, I'm a wizard. We all are, to a certain extent, but that's just a label, right? We're more than just healers and empaths and witches and wizards. We are it, period. And when we got destroyed, everything got destroyed. Now, I've talked about that before. So, I figured I'd get up this morning and take a little trip down here to the dam, see a little bit of this lake now that we had some snow the other day that melted off at night. It was really weird. I woke up early in the morning in case my travel to work. Because I did actually have to take a job out here just to generate some more income to keep eating and keep helping people, I guess. And that job keeps me very, very busy. But, you know, before I had my business in Missouri, it was, you know, doing fiberglass boats. I did a lot of sanding and a lot of prep work for paint. Well, where I work now, I'm basically doing the same thing. I work for a place called CM Truck Beds in Kingston, Oklahoma. You can even look them up online, see what we make. And basically, it's how I spend 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, is prepping truck beds for paint. And because I've done that kind of work for 30 years, it's the same thing, a different process. Just like what we go through on our spiritual walks, right? It's just a different process. They think I'm just a god at it, so to speak. You know, here I am pushing 60 years old and I'm flat running circles around kids that are 20. You know, the work ethic. I've been kind of secluded from it all, having my own business out in the sticks for so long. I ran that business for like 17 years. Almost 20 years I've been out of the workforce, right? So it's amazing to see the lack of integrity and whatever that has enveloped the workplace in my absence. It's just quite crazy to see the world now that I'm full on back into the matrix, what it's really become since I left. But it is what it is. And when I talk to people, I still talk to people. I have just as many people out here think I'm crazy as I did in Missouri. But I do have people out here that say, wow, you know, I kind of get that. So, you know, and that's all we do is drop seeds. cling to any of it in any particular way. It doesn't control me. I control it, right? So here we are, 90 seconds to midnight now is what they're telling us. The core has stopped turning, so we're probably in the birth canal. All we got now is to slide down the canal, the final push to get out, right? And then that'll be that. And there again, a lot of people aren't seeing it coming. They won't see it coming. They don't need to see it coming, right? It's not my job. It's not anybody's job. You know, if you're a Star Trek fan, I don't remember what they call it now, but it's the non-interference rule. Well, if you're sitting across from somebody and you're having an argument about what's what, you're interfering in their life, period. Mind your own business. You know, I was taught that a lot as a child, and I raised my kids that way. I can't control what other people think about me. I can't control the way they see the world. All I can do is say, hey, you know, and what I point out to everybody is the moon. Look at the shadows on the moon. If that's not a dead giveaway, if that doesn't spark something within them, probably nothing's going to spark within them. And that doesn't make it wrong, period. That's their own personal path that they're on. Just leave them be. Move on with your life. That's the biggest message I have right there. It's just so sickening to, you know, quite honestly, that's why you haven't seen me around any of you that are used to seeing me on panels or in certain chat rooms. One, I'm really busy, 10 hours a day. You know, usually by the time my work day is done, I've got enough time to go home, bring Maisie to the lake, have some dinner, and then I work so hard now during the day that I'm just ready for sleep. So I get up, I go to work, take care of Maisie, eat, and then I'm off to bed to get up and do it all over again. Now the cool thing about it is today's Friday, and I'm obviously not at work because the 10-hour work days means we only work 4 days a week, so I'm 4 on, 3 off. So that's kind of nice. So it gives me a little time to come down and do stuff like this. I'm also considering, pardon me, doing a live. I've never done a live before. I attempted one and kind of phased out of it. I wasn't really feeling it at the time. And that's part of all this is, you know, once you become connected to source, to earth, and you're in a certain state of consciousness, you know, that's why some things aren't as appealing to you today as they once were. You're slowly being removed from all that stuff because, as the Bible says, we're to be on the earth, not of the earth, right? So of the earth would be these artificial beliefs outside of self, right? If you're watching the news and you're taking it all in and you think we're headed for World War III, you're still of the earth and the programming. And that goes even for some people. Like, you know, Dolores Cannon's name has been floating around in this mess for the last 10 years that I know of. Now, and once again, just like Elon Musk or Donald Trump or anybody else who you know that isn't in your immediate circle, they're there for a reason. You know, they present good and bad, right? And I'm not saying Dolores Cannon is bad, but if you spend any time watching, not just reading her books, but watching interviews that she's been in and listen to questions and answers, you know, one of the things that kind of caught me off about her immediately was somebody asked her about Jesus. And she said, oh, he's off flying through space right now. Well, that's a big fat lie, because there's nothing out there right now. So, you know, there is some truth about the waves of volunteers, because like I said, as we draw closer to reality, we're going to be tapping into that, and more people will. But that's why everybody's waking up to a certain degree as well. The ride's almost over. It's time to get up and get out of bed, so to speak. So, but back to the live thing, is I might try and do one, either later tonight maybe, or maybe tomorrow. I'm not real sure. If anybody out there who sees this video is interested in me doing a live and joining some chat and doing some question and answers, or just getting some thoughts off your chest, just leave a comment about it. If I get enough people to say, yeah, let's do a live, then I probably will, because right now I'm still kind of unsure about it. And the other thing you'll notice different about my videos versus anybody else's or any other panels, I'm not out here pushing for you to like and subscribe to my channel. I don't need the validation, so to speak, that everybody else needs, right? I'm not sitting there telling everybody, oh, you've got to spread this word. You know, the messages are going to find the people that they're meant to find, all on their own. I don't need to promote anything. I never promoted my business of 17 years. And truth be told, Texoma Lake here that I'm currently at, down at the Texas-Oklahoma border, people used to come from this lake all the way to Missouri for my services, because they found out about it, right? It's the same. You know, a lot of people out there talk about these new powers that we're coming into. No, we're coming into new energies. We've always had this power. Again, that's part of the waking process. It isn't nothing new under the sun. We've always had this power. It's just, did we recognize it and take advantage of it, and what exactly the power was, right? So, I'll try to keep it there. That's just my latest tidbit out of what I'm hearing in the news, and how I see it. And somewhere in that Bible it even states, you know, you'll say what you see and I'll tell you what it meant. You know, I'm not a big Bible verse person. I can't sit here and tell you where to find that, what book and what chapter. There are people out there that know, you know, the Bible like the back of their hand, and that's great. If you happen to know some of these verses, if you leave them in the comments as well if you want. Because I actually looked for that verse this morning, and Jeremiah 33.3, which kind of odd, 333, mentioned something along those lines. Just ask me and I'll tell you what you see. There's also a verse in there that says, just ask and you shall receive. And quite honestly, that's how I came across any of this information that I've come across. Is years ago, probably 6 years ago now, I don't know, I don't keep track of time. I specifically asked for specific knowledge, and apparently it was given to me. It doesn't make me any, you know, my uncle said, you know, what makes you so special? I never claimed to be special. I'm just as damaged. I've said this in plenty of videos. I'm just as damaged as the next guy. But it's how I overcame that damage, and it's the way I've lived my life to a certain aspect, that, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So if you're always doing the right things in life, I've had people very close to me say, well, I wish we could all be as perfect as you. I never said I was perfect, but obviously that person thought I was in some manner of speaking, otherwise it would never have left their lips. And I'm not saying I've led a perfect life. I've led a perfect life for me. And I've done it all from the goodness of my heart. That's why my business was so successful. I didn't do my business for the money. I made a buttload of it, but truth be told, I could have charged the same thing that everybody else was charging to do the same work, and I would have made 3 to 4 times the money I made. Okay? So basically how I look at it and what I tell people is I literally have millions of dollars, so to speak, excuse me, of karma out there to draw on, because I didn't do things for money. I've always done things to help people or out of love, period. Now some people question that, and I don't care, because again, I can't control what other people think about me. I know who I am. Nobody else has walked in my footsteps, just like nobody's walked in your footsteps. People come across the things that they come across based on their life path, not others. And that's part of the problem with these people all clamoring into panels, and you know, you've got this multitude of life steps all converging, and they all haven't been the same. So they're all going to have a different perspective, and it comes across. Sometimes it shows up in the form of arguments, right? You've seen it. And that is one way to get me out of a chat quicker than anything, quite honestly. And a lot of these places I just don't visit anymore, and you won't see me there. Just because of that reason. I have no desire to hang out with children, if you will. Because that's how I see it. When you've got two people arguing, it's not about right and wrong. Because again, in the end, all this is going to disappear. It just doesn't matter. But you are trying to make it matter, the ones that want to argue. Like there's some rainbow at the end for people in this realm. This realm is going to no longer exist. Humanity is going to no longer exist. These timelines aren't meant to be traveled down. We were never meant to be here in the first place. I mean, we're here. Everything happens for a reason. And I'm pretty sure that the problems that were created, we kind of did ourselves in the first place. Because with great power comes great responsibility, and somewhere along the way responsibility was lost. So, it is what it is. And that includes me. You know, those people that are still hung up on the Mandela effects, I can't hang with them either. I know what causes Mandela effects. I've even brought it to their attention. The simple fact that they don't see it doesn't mean I'm wrong and they're right. And I mean, there again, because I don't care. I see what I see. Everything I see is for a reason, right? Everything happens for a reason. If anything that I put out here on video resonates with the people that are watching, there's a reason that it resonates with you. You were probably here as well when this went down originally. And it's just a memory that's cropping up within you. I think that's all discernment and resonance is just tapping into old memories. We don't have them active like you remember what you had for breakfast, right? It's not an active memory. It's something that lies dormant within you, just like the dormant DNA, the junk DNA science says we supposedly have within us. We're not going to live in this realm and activate our DNA and continue it on in a different fashion. This is all going to disappear. And when it changes, we won't know. We'll go right back to the way things used to be. And we'll probably never remember this place. So again, I don't consider it that important to even debate such things. Because like I said, it just doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what? Love. Love conquers all. That's all that matters is love. I've referenced that Shine Down song before, and that lyric, it doesn't matter what you believe, it's how did you love, right? And that's very true. So anyhow, I'll call this short. Maisie's over there staring at me all funny. Where is she? She's right there. Yeah, she's looking at me like, how come we're not walking up this hill and doing all kinds of crazy crap? So we will. But I just, you know, the changing of the clock and the core standing still, hot topics, I just thought I'd give my 2 cents like I always do, my little seed droplets. So just remember, do everything out of love. That's all that matters in this realm. Don't take it all so seriously. You know, nobody's anything bigger than that. Okay, you're not really 5 foot, 6 foot, you know, whatever you think you are tall. It just is what it is. All right, so if I get enough requests, yeah, maybe I'll catch you on a live. We'll get together, do something. If not, I may do one anyway, and if not, for sure, as the signs move along, have my own 2 cents to add in video form. I was reminded to put my email in the description box, so it is there if anybody cares for that. But I'll just end it like I always do, that I love you all. Have a great day in spite of the chaos, and see through it. Love you all. Bye-bye.